Bada bing, bada boom. Top 5 is all within like a point or two, except for, of course, first and second. So a very tight race for the rest of the prize pool, except potentially, of course, the team on top and the lion's share of the prize pool. As we take a look at some of those names, Katie, we get into the final map. We've got a lot to talk about, and we will probably have some time to talk about it. Now, Observatory is contested, so feel free. We'll cut each other off here if the action gets hot. But as we take a look at some of these players and the teams, something you and I were talking about during the break, as Swagg drops in, was that, remember, the lowest score gets dropped. So when we're talking about a 39-point deficit, that means Team Swagg will need to outscore their lowest score by 39, and they need to make sure that the other team on top, which is Sage's squad, doesn't get better than 10. So those are the conditions in order to beat the team on top, is that if their lowest score, let's just say it's 5 points. I need to look back and see if we can get a read on what it was. If it's 5, they need to score a 44-point game, and Sage's squad has to score a 10 or lower game for it to make the math count. Now, we'll continue to talk about it. It's a lot of math, but those are the stakes at hand for the team at top not to go down. And, well, speaking of the team in second place here with Swagg Squad, they had trouble at Observatory, Katie, as Joewo's team is out for blood.
Well, and Joewo's team, they're going to need it, right? Because they started out strong. They were consistently kind of in that conversation for top 5. Well, they're currently in 12th place with 73 points. So having a hot start like that could be very, very helpful to them. But you said it, right? I think the only team that we can be pretty positive we know where they're going to end up is Sage's team. Because again, that point differential they have is so enormous. Their team alone has the first and second highest scoring totals for a map over 6 maps. And I think you could see Swagg's team maybe get it done, but the stars would have to align in every possible way. Nice job on the movement around. We'll see Swagg this time. Can you get out alive? Goes for the kills, and you know that makes Goat frustrated, because every time you get on this heady Super Evan's on, well, it's wall bangable, and you are putting yourself at risk of going down. And, well, Evan, unfortunately, that heady might not have helped you too much, because you could still get shot there, but will fall, not able to get out alive.
Yeah, I was going to play a more aggressive stance. Unfortunately, gets caught in the rotation. And death after death, elimination after elimination. Autorize finds one on the side of Aydan's team. This is one of the teams in the hunt, as it were. Aydan's squad currently sitting in 6th place. Behind Ebates by 1, who's in 5th. Behind Chrissy, who's in 4th by 2. And only around 7 points behind Team Destroy in 3rd. So a very tight 2nd all the way down to 6th. Really even 7th with Picnic Basket at 84 points. Really tight race for the rest of this prize pool. And sure, anything can happen. Sure, I might eat a shoe, but the chances of that are very, very slim at this point. So we'll keep trying to do some math to help out that conversation. But regardless, a fantastic performance from the teams at the top. They got to stay consistent here in map number 6. And I will say too, Katie, as we kind of slow it down here a little bit and watch these teams set up, I think ultimately a lot of the teams near the bottom of the leaderboard or middle of the pack are going to go for broke in this format. That's one of the things we always talk about, is that, hey, if you're in the middle of the leaderboard, bottom of the leaderboard, you're not in the money, you've already have your 0, 2, 3-point game you've scored, you might as well just full send it. If you drop another 0, you're not winning any money. If you drop a 15 by playing slow and getting some placement points, you're still not making any money. So go for broke. Try to drop a banger of a map that could potentially push you all the way up into the conversation.
I agree. You might as well just go for it at this point, even if you're playing for fun. Just go ahead, be that hyper-aggressive player. If it works out, cool. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't really matter. You've already accepted that. Now, Aydan going to have to be mindful, does, again, use a recon, something we've seen from him multiple times. But why is he doing that? Well, he has a double threat right now on his bounty. This very well could be the team looking to push toward him. But you can see multiple teams here, multiple squads. So one at least going to be your bounty, but the other just playing for that third-party potential. So you can see Otter there trying to stay alive, has multiple players underneath. But you have to ask the question, when someone does a play like this, Goj, tagging as many as he can, yes, it's helpful for Otter to a point, but at what point is it better for Aydan to just put it down and go over there himself?
Yeah, that is a fun conversation. The live pings are incredibly helpful because you can kind of not only predict but also exactly see where your opponents are, so you can kind of move around them and work. So he was kind of allowing Mayapo to cook, and honestly, if anybody's gonna be cooking, Mayapo could certainly be the one to do it. The dude is next level. Also a part of Omit, by the way. The more and more we talk about them, the more and more we will shout their name out because, well, there's so many players. As Autorize on your screen, also part of Omit, is in the gulag trying to win this fight and is able to do so. Very well done, holding it down, taking the ego chow and winning the gunfight against Empathy. Aydan's squad needs a big one, and they need it now. If they lose out here and lose all of their players, they're not going to be walking away with any cash, most likely. They need a pretty sizable game in order to improve their lowest score. And they're going to have to be even more sizable, not only than their lowest score, but against any of the other teams that they're fighting against, their lowest score as well. So a lot of math and a lot of points trading hands and moving people up and down this leaderboard, but Aydan's in trouble. Imbag's still up. What are you gonna do about it? And I don't know if that's gonna work.
And I think at least one of the teams they were fighting was actually Chrissy's team. So this is the 4th and the 6th place teams fighting each other. I saw that Chrissy was able to take down, I believe, I don't know if it was Adrian or Aydan, at least get the down, but a good team to take out if you can manage it. Aydan will head to the gulag. Adrian full dead, but Mayapo with more than enough money to be able to get the buyback. Just not a ton super close by. We'll head to the one just north here past the gas station. But you have to hope that no one else is having the same thought process as you. Definitely do not want to get caught out here. No teams have been eliminated yet, so this is a great map to capitalize on. You just have to be careful. And well, speaking of a team that is in first place and has been the entire tournament, they are having a rough go of it. You have one player who's full dead. You have 2 players in the gulag. And here you have Hisoka just making his way, trying to get that cash to buy players back. Does have a decent amount, but this is an area in the map in Al Mazrah that you always have to be careful on, Goach, because you know, guaranteed, there's at least one other squad in the vicinity.
Look, Katie, if this team wanted to just ego the whole tournament, they could have just splatted on Impact at the first drop and said, hey, good luck, race against our point total. Like,
that would have been hysterical, but bad manners.
No, bad manners, bad sportsmanship, but they could have and probably still win, but they would like to improve their score. Sometimes crazy things will happen. Somebody drops a banger map that's in 2nd or 3rd, and if you don't improve your lowest score, even just 11 instead of a 10 or 12 instead of a 10, it's going to feel great. Biffle's right back into it, so that's nice to see. You don't have to buy him back. I was looking back through our leaderboard document here, Katie, as we kind of have a little bit of the peek behind the scenes with our admin team and looking at some of the teams and what their lowest scores are, right? And, you know, one of the teams that's in contention that was near the top and now has kind of dropped down is Team Huskerrs, right? And I was wondering, as they had kind of popped up for a second above Swagg's team until Swagg reported, we were wondering how they scored. And in the last map, they only scored 5 points. So that makes a lot of sense. That also means this game 6 is incredibly valuable for them because they can score a lot more than 5 and jump up this leaderboard dramatically. Whereas a team like, DBZ +1 here with Xenon, their lowest score is 11, similar to Sage's squad or close to it. They need a 12-point game or 13-point game to improve at all. And even then, you're only improving it by 1 or 2 when you're sitting at 3rd place. So they really do need a banger map, and it's only Clutch alive, and he's going to have to work to get his team back here on the Edge zone.
He's going to have to work, but certainly believe he can do it, especially when he's getting all of that cash. But you talk about those lowest point totals. I believe Sage, Hisoka, etc. their lowest score is 10 points.
That's right.
And Biffle had 5 eliminations on his own when we saw him come back from the gulag. So I think it's safe to say that our first place team is already going to better that score because they're going to beat out that 10 unless somehow there's not 5 kills spread among the rest of Sage's team and they get eliminated early on. Again, not that it really matters, but it's going to be fun to see exactly what point total they can get to. But again, a lot of potential movement for teams really in 2nd place all the way down to even like 10th, depending on how things goes. 10th being, as you said, Huskerrs team. We'll see what they can make happen, but for now, maybe a little smack talk. I could hear some going on in the background, but you can tell calm's good because, well, you know you're going to walk away with the lion's share of the cash.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at a few other scores across the board. Seeing a couple 3s, 2s, 5s that can be dramatically improved. You know, I'm looking at, Picnic Basket, IQ, Nick Cool, and Ryda. That's one squad that's been on the fringe the whole time, inside the top 5 or just outside. Ryda, of course, a part of Omit as well. Their lowest is 9, so an opportunity to improve in a dramatic way. Now, quick buybacks from the team on your screen means everybody's right back into the mix, and we're going to be continuing to cook. But again, they only need an 11 or higher to improve their score, which is already such a monster score at 144. So.
Oh shit, someone.
Yo, on top of glass.
I got killed from glass, bro. Fuck.
Flying at him.
I'm at it.
I mean, Katie, I think the other thing is, like, I'm looking at eBait squad. 6 points is their lowest. So another team that could improve their score fairly dramatically as well.
Yeah, that's huge when you have that drop game, because you never really know how things are going to play out till that final game is done. All of those numbers are crunched, and you get that shuffling. Unless, of course, you're a team with a standout scoreline. Yeah, maybe you're not as worried about it, but right now, actually, Krink's team with Chrissy, they have a decent amount of eliminations, and there's plenty more they can farm if they manage to stay alive through the rest of the game. Only one team, I believe, fully eliminated, so a nice start for them, to be sure. As I say that, Krink's does go down, but gives the comms, so we'll see if they decide to push that or not, or they go for the safe buyback, because they do have this buy station right behind them.
Yeah, they're talking about it. I mean, the buy will come through no problem. I don't think there's anyone here. They've been hanging out here for a while. So here's a quick buy. And this is Chrissy's squad on your screen currently.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Team in contention near the top. So quick buy, and now they're going to drop some money and try to grab some other resources to work with. And you're right, they do have a couple eliminations, one of which, of course, was on Aydan. We saw Chrissy take down Aydan on what looked to be like the start of a water rotation that was cut short quickly. Now they're kind of looting back up after seemingly buying Chrissy back recently, as she doesn't have any weapons to write home about. So a loadout's going to come in a dramatic way. They were able to buy it here. Albeit expensive, it's definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it, and gives them some time. Yes, you're not getting eliminations right now, but being able to regroup, rebuy, get all that utility to then pick the next fight you want can sometimes be just as useful. But they spot out one of those players in the distance. The shot's coming in. They look to close in. Nice comms out of Chrissy, taking that left side push toward where this player is. Nothing on that UAV, but, well, doesn't necessarily mean they're not there. Shots in, looking for a ping. Knows they're very close by. Forced to back up. Got some Semtex flying in. Survives. Will need a plate up. Doesn't actually have any to do so. So you have to be very careful here, because trying to take these fights without plates can be the decision maker before the fight even happens.
We're waiting for this guy next to us.
Gonna play it slow. Krink's calling out. He's in trouble. One behind. Chrissy catches it, finds it. That's Azin. This is Nobu Spartan's team, a team also in contention, at least somewhere near the top. See if we can get a read on where they're at currently as we swap over to another squad somewhat nearby. This is Mayapo, Otterize, Adrian. Looking for someone nearby. There's a few AI down below. They're not too worried about that. Worried about this loadout. Worried about the teams across the way. Finds it. Nice knock. That's Limax. Limax, that's TBE. TBE wiping teammates, though. Aydan, Otter down. Trade one, but this is going to be a tough fight to win. I like the push here from Otter and Mayapo. Well, Otter rather down. Mayapo last alive on this side of things. Adrian totally split, Katie. We've pushed. Now we're slowing down.
Slow down, but I think still on the hunt. Adrian does have a bounty, but nothing to worry about just yet. Only a single threat, trying to find the remainder of what happened with TBE, and a team that unfortunately we only really saw one potential game that didn't pan out, and they're still kind of middling around that 15th, 16th positioning, tied with Mutex's team at 61 points. So Mayapo's potentially here able to make something happen, but you just don't have any cash. Mayapo, hardly anything, not even 500. As I say that, Adrian actually able to find a decent amount, a few thousand. Can get them at least one buyback, but they'll need to hit that regain fairly quickly. As our first 5 teams fully eliminated, we are now into the beginning of those placement points.
Yeah, and I think when you start thinking about TBE, their lowest score right now is 7 points. They scored in map 2, so a score that could be wildly improved upon. But their highest score on the day thus far has been 18. So it's not like they've been dropping bombs, and if anything, they've been dropping just mediocre games across the board. And as Almond falls, likely they're going to see some more unfortunate circumstances, and they're not going to be able to improve more than that. They're going to need a 35, 40-point game to get into contention, most likely, given the stakes of where most of the players are.
Did he have money?
I really check. He was gonna buy though. He should be rich.
I thought he had a big stat.
Oh, and I see Adrian able to find a decent amount, actually almost doubled the cash amount. So good to get the rest of the team back. But this is kind of one of those points in these tournaments. Doesn't matter if it's customs or not, Goj, where you hit that middle map state and everything feels like it slows down. You start regrouping, regaining, repositioning from the beginning, and well, Myapo gets absolutely ripped off that roof, tries to make a getaway, doesn't even have a chance to do so before he's taken down. Good news, Adrian, well, you got a lot of cash. If you need to get those buybacks. But let's swing over to Swagg. Looks like they're all alive and well, so potential for them maybe to get a three-peat, get the last half of the tournament all under their belt in terms of map wins. One elimination here for Super Evan, but the team, again, they do such a good job of having more than enough cash, all playing around each other, and all positioning exceptionally well.
As a reminder, they're in second place with 106 points. The leaders, Sage's squad, at 145, so a massive margin to overcome. But they are in the lead over Destroy's team, who's in third, at 92 versus 106. So you're looking at a 14-point margin there as well. So Swagg's team has set themselves up very well, like you said, Katie, by winning the last 2 maps. If they could do it again, of course, that would be fantastic. 10 extra placement points, but you've got to improve upon your lowest score, which again I think their lowest score was somewhere around the neighborhood of about 10 as well. So certainly can do. I don't know if they're there yet, but they probably are close.
Nice shots out of Super Evan. The smoke goes up, not enough to save. DJ Moss does get downed. The immediate push, throwing a Semtex. You want to deny his ability to get away, and there they called it. The self-revive coming in, you get that elimination and pick up all of that loot. A great job from them to be able to also just pick him out. DJ Moss really nowhere to go. Couldn't back up even if he wanted to. But now looking to find the rest of the team, as that wasn't a team wipe. You want to figure out where they are, especially now that you have a man advantage. But we'll swing over Huskerrs in the thick of it and not seemingly having a very good time. A sliver of health, no plates to his name, and simply trying to stay alive. 3/4 of the team up, and we've been talking about Huskerrs' team significantly. They're currently in 10th. They have the ability to make a play here with a very, very good map. But they got to stay alive. They got to regain, and Huskerrs in an extremely tough position. Really no utility to speak of.
Yeah, again, this is one of those teams that could jump the leaderboard dramatically with a big game, and they've got a couple of eliminations. I don't know if big is the right word for it yet, unless one of these other players has been farming most of them. But again, they're only trying to improve upon, I think, 5 points from their last map that really put them down into the gutters, if you will. So an opportunity to make some money today still. But some of the other teams might be out of it. This team's certainly still in the equation. But they need a big one, and they need it now, as this is the last map of Destroy's drops thus far. And I love the setup and the build-up that we've been able to see between every single map. Build-up paying off for Huskerrs' team as they find one on Mutex. But they've got to rotate, and there's likely a lot of other teams rotating as well. So loot galore. That's nice for Huskerrs, considering he had no plates beforehand. But hey, this is going to be a fairly sizable jump to the next zone, and likely there's going to be a few teams hanging out ready for him.
Yeah, that's always one of the risks you take if you don't rotate to zones early. Depending on what happens with the splits, it can always vary game to game. But yes, maybe you can get some of those initial cleanups, but then you very quickly can become the team that gets held. And you do have a decent amount of open area you have to cross, as you said, to get safely into that next zone. But it looks like for right now, they are focused on a team behind them. Wise move, as you certainly don't want to deal with them shooting at your back as you're making that transition. I think Foreign Jace giving some of those call-outs, doing what he can to figure out exactly where they are. Some of those opening shots from Scummin coming through and able to get it down. Should give them man advantage. Plates down for anyone who needs it, but this will be the final hold that they get before they have to make their way into the zone. Huskerrs finds one up top. Shots are returned. A couple angles to work from, but this player is going to have to get out of the building at some point. Should be easy pickings for Huskerrs team unless something goes wrong.
Well, something went wrong.
Something maybe going wrong.
Four Jace has fallen to one. Unrational trades it, I believe, with Vision, so they might get the res here inside of the zone, but you're going to have a stim or something to try to help you out. Even a stim won't really help you out too much, but it looks like that's exactly what happened. Quick stim, maybe a gas mask to work with now. Now Huskerrs in trouble because, well, he's out in the middle of a road, nowhere to go. Nice dip dive, duck and dodge, and he makes it to a bit of cover. But he's going to lose probably some teammates in the process. This is a tough rotation, and the classic statement of Warzone holds true. When you're holding a team, likely there's a team holding you. This almost layer cake type situation is not paid off fantastic for Team Huskerrs, as they've lost one and most likely lose four in Jace here unless they can get a sneaky res, which looks like maybe we'll be able to, and we'll keep 3 alive as we have 15 players left. Excuse me, 15 squads left, 37 players left. And the train might provide just a touch of reprieve as they relocate.
Yeah, the train actually pretty helpful for them there to just rotate back towards Scummin. Nice news, Unrational didn't give his death to anyone. He died to the storm, so doesn't give anyone else a point boost. But look at this, Sage with 8 eliminations.
No way.
The team in first, they might go out now, but it doesn't even matter. They do have 1 player remaining, and keep in mind, again, their worst game was 10 points. Biffle has 9. Sage has 8. It doesn't matter what you do. It does not matter how well you play. Team Sage, from start to finish, will keep the crown, never once dropping below first. And, I mean, that's 17 points between 2 players, Goat. We don't even know what half the team has.
They're in every building.
Look, you know, we're going to talk about more in a little bit after the end of this game. I told you this was going to be the case. Everybody knew this was going to be the case. If there was a betting line, you're making like $1 on a $100 bet. I mean, there's just no question they're winning this event, and they're showcasing why. They are such a strong team, and they're insane at regains and stabilizing when there's no chance that they should be able to. A massive game underway. Hyper-aggressive strategy is paid off, but the question is, who will be vying for that 2nd and 3rd place positions? On our screen, Crinks is getting involved and getting involved handily. 4 eliminations, players in every single direction, but a gas mask means we're finding another knock, and we're going to try to move to the next zone. With a knock, you've got enough room to replay back up and find your way into the zone and grab the res. Crinks going big here with Junior to stay up. They've got Chrissy as well. This could be a massive map for Team Chrissy to try to creep up the leaderboard and score some extra cash.
This is huge, and what a phenomenal play from Crinks. Able to get the down onto Lennon, as you said, has the utility and the speed to turn that into a revive onto Junior, keeping 3 out of 4 players up and well. A huge moment for them that could have gone so differently if Crinks didn't play it perfect. That's another down for Crinks. That should be the 6th elimination, setting themselves up, as you said, for the potential of an excellent map. Could propel them back into contention for the top 3. They are sitting in 4th, just 5 points behind Destroy's team, so very doable. But Crinks calls it, I'm going to die here, tries to throw it out, actually able to get at least a few plates in, so maybe some more survivability than he thought. And, well, if you can dodge that mortar strike, alive and well, Crinks defying all odds, somehow unkillable.
Okay, Crinks, show me what you got, my friend. A couple smokes and a couple of dives. You've made it to cover, and you're right back in this full health. Now, still edge of zone, still with Chrissy and Junior to work with, and gets a free rotation here. Counter UAV in the air. Players in the window, I guess, blocked by the smoke. Fantastic job for the duo on the left-hand side. Chrissy's going to go for the right-hand wrap. Likely a couple teams on the right here. Look at this zone. Now, this is an interesting one because we've got buildings on the left-hand side, and then we've got terrain on the right. There's one freebie. Chrissy's looking for it. Cracks one, finds another angle, hits again. In a bit of trouble. Is going to play it slow, smartly. Getting a call-outs. I love the way this trio has been playing these last couple fights. Of course, you can't use that cluster mine, one of our banned items, but Chrissy should be able to creep up here, maybe through smoke, and maybe get the better of her opponents. They could be waiting for her, but no, she makes it through a bit of cover. It's a sticky situation with a bit of overwatch from Junior. She could stay alive here, though, and this could be a trio going into what would be a duo or solos finals round.
see where he is.
Absolute chaos, and yet somehow, some way, they are working through it. Great communication, as you said it. Excellent use of those tacticals. Smokes so important. Able to actually pick up another one there with those perks, and that'll be Aydan. We'll see you later. They're laughing. 12 points in 5th place. Will net them another 5, so 17 there. That'll be the end of the run for Aydan's team as we swing back over to Booyah.
Okay.
Well, they've won 2 games in a row. They're looking to win the entire second half of Destroy's drops. They've got 3 players to try and do so. Super Evan is full dead, and this player getting shot out of the sky, not having a good time, doesn't even have a chance to touch the ground before they are eliminated. But this is it. The final ending. Booyah forced to back off. A nice team wipe for their trouble, but in some trouble of his own. Need to rotate away, but with an advanced gas mask, not too much trouble. 4 teams, Coach, 10 players.
This is going to be a back-to-back-to-back if things go even slightly in their favor. They've got player advantage. They're pushing. They're playing aggressive. There's one behind Booyah in the room. He didn't check the doors. Himothy finds one on Booyah. Uh-oh. All of a sudden, Doozy's down as well. It's all up to colors for the back-to-back-to-back. Now, they're getting a ton of placement points. They have a sizable amount of limbs. This is a great map to secure second place, most likely, but they would like to grab the 10 placement points to be sure. One out in the open. Looks like an open shot. He's going to take it. Hits a few, but not enough to do too much. With a vehicle and no gas mask, Colors is in trouble. Held on the right, only 12 limbs. They've most likely held their second place finish, but we're not positive on that because likely the other team alive might be Chrissy's squad still up with Empathy, Trick, and Himothy out deep in the zone and likely going to die to zone. This could be a free win for whatever squad is left. Katie, I can only expect... No, getting word Chrissy is
1v1.
out. Who's the final player? Himothy in the zone with the stim. Trying. No. Done. Dusted. Who's left? Last team. Yet again, we hold our breath to figure out who wins the final map of Destroy's drops.
It always is exciting when you get treated to a 1v1 at the very end. A bit tricky of a 1v1, but we'll learn in just a moment. That final team coming out on top. We know it's not Sage's team. So we'll have to see who exactly it was. We know it wasn't Chrissy's, but there we go. Stellar moves coming out on top with that victory. Stellar moves, I believe. That was what, Shaded Step, OP Mark's team, able to get it done for the conclusion of the 6th and final. Thank you, Z Colors, for that. Of Destroy's drops. There we'll have it. We'll have to see what happens with kind of our top 5. I mean, I say that top 5, really, I mean